Alright guys, today we're outside and it is snowing, hailing, it's something or another in February. And we're discussing how I got to flat Earth. Why I now think that the Earth is flat. How did I get here? Well, like I told you in the last video, I was an atheist or an agnostic most of my life. And one day I was on my way to a sleep clinic. And in hindsight, I feel pushed by the Creator. But let's just say I had a thought, and that thought was to find out the truth. So I went onto Google, and I typed in the truth about this world. And I got onto a website called Truthism. I think it was truthism.com. It's still there, I think. And it goes into some pretty crazy shit, like reptiles and all sorts. I'm not saying that you should go onto truthism.com and believe everything you read. I'm just explaining how I got to where I got to. So that then started a journey. That began in September, October. And for 3 months I was researching conspiracies. I was a conspiracy theorist, as they like to call us, but in reality, they're not really theories. And that phrase has a lot of negative connotations. But anyway, so by the time I got to flat Earth, I'll just give you a small indication of the amount of conspiracy theories I'd looked into. Here's a quick list. Now there's many more, but here's a quick list. Fluoride, GMOs, vaccines, chemtrails, 9/11, Sandy Hook, Boston bombings, Paris attacks, missing flights, Illuminati, Bilderbergers, Bohemian Grove, Skull and Bones, CFR, Trilateral Commission, Freemasons, Satanists, Talmudic Jews, Federal Reserve, Rothschilds, the Bloodlines, NWO, or New World Order, NASA, controlled opposition, war on drugs, war on terror, evolution, Big Bang Theory, depopulation, the origins of viruses and diseases. This is a very short summation of the amount of conspiracies I've looked into. So, when I see in my recommended, on the right, in my YouTube, when I see on the recommended side, after 3 months of looking into conspiracies, I see a video called Flat Earth. And I remember calling to my fiancée who was in the other room doing work, because she's a primary school teacher, so she was doing her primary school teacher stuff, and grading papers or whatever. And I remember saying to her, and she's on the same page as me on a lot of this stuff, so I remember saying to her, there's a video on Flat Earth, what do you think? And she said, in just the most nonchalant way you would have ever thought, she just said, wouldn't surprise me. And that was it. She just called from the other room, wouldn't surprise me. And that's kind of where I was at. Alright? It wasn't that I was a flat earther from the very beginning, I'm not going to say that. But I was open to it, because of the sheer amount of conspiracy. That's turned out to be true. So that's how I got onto Flat Earth. I saw a video I recommended after 3 months of research. And I'm still trying to debunk it. And I sort of approach it from 4 different ways. I tried to prove the globe, I tried to disprove the globe, or debunk the globe. I tried to prove Flat Earth, and I tried to debunk Flat Earth. So I'm always trying from 4 different sides, and I still haven't really fully made up my mind yet, because we're constantly learning new things. We're constantly being given new information. If you don't want to be a victim of cognitive dissonance, you've got to be willing to look at new data, to look at new information, to look at new truths, and see how they fit into your existing belief systems. Now, if they go completely against your belief systems, then you may have to reevaluate your belief systems altogether. Like me. I was an atheist. I was an agnostic. And now I believe in the Creator. I'm not subscribing to one religion. I'm not subscribing to one branch of religion. But that's where I'm at now. So you've got to be willing to look at the information, the new information, and there's plenty of new information coming out there. So that's today's video. That's how I got onto Flat Earth. Peace, love, happiness, freedom, and all that.
Eclipses make absolutely no sense on the globe Earth. I compare here the path of several eclipses on the Mercator projection and on the Flat Earth map. On the Bull Earth you are forced to have a wobbling ball in space to fit the path of eclipses. Not to mention that the shadow of an eclipse on Earth measures around 50 to 70 miles. We all know that shadows are bigger when projected on a distance, but to fit the Ball Earth deception, they say that the contrary happens, that the shadow gets smaller. Look at the Mercator projection, and on the globe, you have there a zigzag path of eclipses. That makes no sense, so I plot these cities on the Flat Earth map and voila. Everything makes sense now. The sun and the moon are much smaller than we are told, and they make their circuit above the flat Earth when they cross paths. That's when we have solar eclipses. The lunar eclipse is caused by dark bodies that are not made public but that are documented in the Royal Astronomical Society of London.
Find the 93 million mile away sun. That's interesting, isn't it? I reversed it and inverted it here so you could see it a little bit better. Isn't that interesting? I wonder how that can be. 93 million miles away, and the clouds are going behind it. And in front of it, in fact. Clouds in front of and clouds behind it. Boy, that's a really strange phenomenon.
What up, fam? Believe it or not, the most accurate GPS in the entire world is owned by the Air Force, and coincidentally, it's closed code. So yeah, it's not open source, and the reason being is because we'd be able to back engineer the math proving that it's not a globe.
NASA spent $178 billion in today's value to put a man on the moon, and then goes ahead and erase the tapes. What kind of joke is that?
So where is this hard evidence?
I haven't seen anything that indicates the telemetry data is even in existence, and as I said, even if we had it, we don't have the machines to play it back.
But your own research has shown the telemetry data is missing.
That's right.
Right. We've been unable to track it down. I mean, we don't know where this telemetry data ended up, and we don't know what path it may have taken. So, unfortunately, I'm afraid I can't really give you much of a clue as to where this data ended up and whether it still exists or not.
On top of that, they also destroyed all technology of the 60s and says it's a painful process to build it back. What a joke.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
I get a lot of so-called pilots in my comments, so today I have a challenge for you. I want you to go, at nighttime of course, on a flight and fix your airplane on the stars. You can plot your course on the stars that you pick that will keep you going in a straight line. So you're going to stay fixed in inertial space, and the non-inertial rotating Earth will rotate out from under you. So you're going to fly from as far north as you can to the equator. What you're going to have to show is the ground rotating out from under the plane at ever-increasing speeds as you head for the equator. And you're locked onto that background star. You will see the ground rotate out from underneath you at up to 1,000 miles per hour at the equator. You have to show that, and also you have to show you're hit with ever-increasing rotating atmosphere, which of course will be wind. So this is going to be increasing from 0 up to 1,000 miles per hour crosswind by the time you get to the equator. Of course, this is all fantasy and proof the spinning ball is fake. And please don't say gravity or its relative, because they are not proven to exist. This is 100% proof that the spinning ball is fraudulent and based on pseudoscience. This is just one of many proofs we live on a stationary Earth. Sometimes the moon reminds me of ice or a frozen lake. Especially this area of the moon. Not saying that's what it is, just saying it kinda looks that way.
I get asked that question a lot. Well, here's a perfect Perfect answer.
You'll never be able to see anything like this on your own. NASA and other space agencies, they give you images like this, but with your own telescope, they come out like this. And the only reason it appears to be round or spherical is because it's being processed through the software in your telescope. And if you have an older telescope that doesn't utilize software, it has a convex lens and concave mirrors inside that round off the image. And if you end up going to a planetarium, you'll be looking at CGI. And if you happen to get your hands on one of these, you'll be looking through filters. But if you really want to know what the so-called planets look like, get you a Nikon P900 camera and have at it.
How can we easily know the height of Polaris and the Sun? What is the altitude of both of these celestial objects? It is very simple. Two observers at 45 degrees north latitude, both always see Polaris at a 45 degree angle in the sky. 45 degrees standing at 45 degrees north latitude. Sees the star at 45 degrees above in the sky. So we know that, according to Gleason, that there is 3,450 nautical miles from the center to the equator. The center to the equator, right here, 3,450 nautical miles. Half that distance would be 1,725 nautical miles. And we know that here to here is the same, is equal to there to there. 1,725 nautical miles. So we know that. We know that. Mathematically, that's just how it would work, right? We go over here to the sun, and it's the same thing. An observer standing at 45 degrees north and 45 degrees south both see the sun at 45 degrees in the sky. You were to raise your sextant or astrolabe, you would see the sun at 45 degrees in the sky if you're standing from 45 degrees north and 45 degrees south on solar equinox at solar noon, and an observer at the equator would see the sun 90 degrees vertically plumb, so I could do this on camera, above them, where there would be no shadow. So the observer on the equator would see the sun directly above them, while these two would see the sun at 45 degrees in the sky simultaneously. So that would make this distance here equal to this distance, which is the same as this. 1,725 nautical miles. Very, very simple to understand. I know there's a lot of folks who are claiming that the sun is 3,000 miles high. I don't know how you guys got that, but that's improper. It's 3,450 nautical miles from here to the equator. Half that distance is 1,725. Here's the equator. 1,725, and so that would make this equal. That would make this equal. 1,725 nautical miles is the height of both Polaris and the sun. Love you.
Somebody tagged me in this video, and it's supposed to explain why we can't see the curvature of Earth. And the premise of the video is that Earth is so gigantic in relation to us. We are so microscopic on Earth that we couldn't possibly see any curvature. Now, the only problem with this argument is that it negates another argument, which is that we can see boats disappear going over the curvature of Earth standing on a beach. You can't have it both ways. You can't say that Earth is so large you can't see the curvature, and then in the same breath say that there's enough curvature over 3 miles to make an entire ship disappear. It doesn't make sense. We have a person standing here, that's witnessing a ship vanish right before their eyes. Now, what could make this ship vanish if there is no curvature in between the person and the ship? Convergence, maybe? You guys need to wrap your head around this concept, or you'll forever think you're in outer space spinning on a rock where monkeys turned into talking people. The only reason you can see the sun, the stars, and the moon is because they are not millions of miles away from you. You've been finessed. Why? I have no idea. I don't have all the answers. I'm just pointing out the obvious. You can either take it or leave it. It's up to you. But this is your reality. Your perception of reality will not change the facts. And to see this, you need only to be a critical thinker. I think that's the issue here. Most globe enthusiasts don't think critically. And then you call us people who do think critically conspiracy theorists, when you guys are the ones with all the damn theories. The theory of relativity, the theory of evolution, the Big Bang theory, the theory of gravity. Everything about this globe that you believe in is dependent upon theories. And all they have to do is put the word scientific before theory, and you're sold on it. That's wild. Y'all enjoy being lied to. I can't even understand it.
We actually went to the moon in 1969, or do you think it was a hoax?
It's the first time I ever heard about it. Really. There is a possibility it could have been a hoax, yeah.
When the shadows and different things were analysed, and where they said the moon was, and different things like that, that it didn't look real enough.
When it landed, there wasn't that much dust being blown away. Yeah, he's got a lot of little things that add up.
My journey begins in cyberspace. I just type in fake moon landing and presto, instant documentary. I discover a book called NASA Mooned America, written and published by a man in New Jersey who only goes by the name Renee. I convince this secretive author to come out of his isolation and meet me at this Holiday Inn in Totowa, New Jersey.
Nice to meet you, Renee.
Yeah, hang on a minute. Okay,
Nice
we got
to
on
meet you.
load.
Renee is an inventor, author, and ex-member of Mensa, the elite club for those with super high IQs, a society he quit due to their reluctance to take on his controversial stance on the moon landings.
As soon as you see the foreground and the background go like this, you know it's a backdrop. This limb weighed 33,000 pounds, and it dropped onto the moon using only one engine. But on all, and I mean all, the moon landings, all 6 times, there is no crater, there is no dust blown away. This is typical of each landing. So the only conclusion is that this guy was put here by a crane. Okay, number 5 should show typical lunar landscape and sea rock. Is that the sea rock? And that is a clear letter C on that little rock right there. When you deal with sun's shadows, they're parallel. But here, obviously, this sun on the moon is strange, to say the least.
Hey, is the lighting halfway decent?
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes on the lunar
Flag up now, and you can see the stars and stripes.
Renee's arguments are better than I thought they would be. The lack of any crater under the lunar lander, and these shadows which appear to go in different directions. For a moon believer, this is perplexing stuff. What should my next step be? What would you do?
The flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer, Al-Biruni, who lived between 975 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Idialenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store today and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.